The occupied West Bank, the heart of historic Palestine.
And you see from this one.
That's a settlement.
1, 2, 3, all this is
everywhere.
Yes, this is all.
You're surrounded.
Surrounded, yes, unfortunately.
How do the borders get decided?
There's a map, and the map shows where the border is. How the map is made, I don't know.
Now, with the world's eyes on Gaza, violence against Palestinians here has been surging. The West Bank has been under Israeli military occupation since 1967, with varying degrees of Palestinian autonomy. But more and more Israeli communities, known as settlements, are being built here, considered illegal under international law.
That's the ABC.
Following the October 7 terror attacks, the IDF conducting near nightly raids, it says, are meant to take out Hamas militants, while settler attacks on Palestinians are also on the rise. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, at least 173 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank since the October 7 attacks, making 2023 the deadliest year in this land since the UN began keeping records in 2005. Among those killed, farmer Bilal Saleh, shot while picking olives with his family in their own field.
This is the olive picking. It's like a festival for us, or carnival. Every year, same time, October, November. It's not something new. We practiced this 100 years before.
His family says this video shows the moment settlers came down from across the opposite hillside, gun in hand. A shot rings out. Bilal found dead moments later. He leaves behind 4 young children, Mohammed, Malak, Mais, and Musa. Bilal's family says settlers have been emboldened by Israel's far-right government and by the war.
They come with the forces and with the weapons, and they put their containers, and the people, they start to make some protesting. They start shouting and screaming, this is our land, this is our... So the things, it's escalating.
The UN says more than 820 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank have been displaced since October 7th. Whole villages forced to leave their homes under the threat of settler intimidation, harassment, and violence.
They closed the entrance, and they didn't allow to anybody. If you have some pregnant, they cannot go to the hospital. If you have some old man, he need to go to hospital. Also, it's not easy. They are saying, go to Egypt, go to Jordan. You're asking me to leave my land?
The issue of who these harsh lands belong to has never been more fraught, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu allying with Israel's far right to form a government at last year's election. Far-right Minister of National Security Itamar Ben-Gvir, a settler himself, loosening gun regulations for Israelis and announcing plans to purchase 10,000 rifles for civilian security teams in the West Bank. In other words, for settlers.
I am not expert in weapons, but there is difference between the small one and the big one. They are distributing the gun machines like you are spreading bread to the people.
During a visit to the West Bank Wednesday, Prime Minister Netanyahu saying Israel won't tolerate Jewish extremists taking the law into their own hands, condemning what he said was a small minority who were damaging Israel's reputation on the international stage. We cannot tolerate this, he said. We will act against it in all ways. Secretary of State Antony Blinken raising the issue during his recent visit to Israel.
What I heard today was a clear commitment from the government to deal with extremist violence in the West Bank, to condemn it, to take action to prevent it, to take action against those who perpetrate it.
We were given rare access to visit the settlement of Bat Ain.
Do you want to come in?
Where we meet Daniel Winston, an Israeli-American settler originally from Chicago.
This is not just real estate. This land is an expression of the fact that if you believe that God, who created the whole universe and created this world, and that he wrote the Bible, if he says in the Bible, I want the children of Israel to live in the land of Israel, so for me, that's not only an imperative, it's an invitation.
You feel, according to the Bible, this is your land. So what's your response when you hear, that under international law, settlements are considered illegal?
Well, the Bible trumps international law.
Palestinians say this is their land. They've been here for centuries. How does anyone find a solution here?
Before we find a solution, we have to understand what the premises are. The Palestinians can say whatever they want, but the fact is there is no such thing as a Palestinian people.
But according to 139 of the 193 UN member states, Palestinian territories are a state. However, key nations like the U.S., the UK, and France do not recognize Palestine. That's 3 of the 5 permanent member states, leaving the official global acknowledgement of Palestine in limbo. Daniel is also part of the settlement's security patrol.
I'm sure you've seen the reports, the death toll of Palestinians being killed just this month alone. What do you make of that?
I have nothing against the Arabs. I have something against the way they're acting. And therefore, I have to do what I have to do. I have to carry a gun. I have to be alert. I have to, and the soldiers of Israel have to respond accordingly.
But Daniel dismisses the notion that settler attacks are on the rise.
You see a video, you see a picture of a Jew carrying a gun, you see them shooting, you don't know what came before, you don't know what came after, and I'm not trying to justify it, I'm trying to say, if they broke a law, so let the law get involved.
In Bilal's case, an off-duty IDF soldier was arrested and later released by a judge who was satisfied he acted in self-defense.